Today on So What? Every teacher is concerned about student privacy online, but we're not alone. 79% of adults worry about how companies use the information we give them and the personal info they collect from us when we're not paying attention. That's the finding from a 2019 survey by Pew Research. But here's the twist. In the same Pew survey, just 9% of adults say they always read a company's privacy policy before agreeing to the terms and conditions. This jaw-dropping disconnect is called the privacy paradox. So what? Well, since so few people pay attention to privacy policies or terms of service, a lot of us may have missed a big change to ChatGPT this week. Flip a switch, and you can go incognito on ChatGPT. From that point forward, nothing you or your students type into the site will be used to train ChatGPT or stored for more than 30 days. Just go into Settings, select Data Controls, slide that button to the left, and boom, you're set. But what about the hundreds of prompts that you've already submitted before you realize that you were giving ChatGPT enough information to identify you in a small crowd of 330 million people? Well, that's history. There's not much you can do to change that. But there is one more thing that you could do. Request and download a copy of everything you've entered into ChatGPT since you started using the tool. We tried, and it works. And in just a few minutes, we received an email with the link to all our past ChatGPT prompts and conversations. So though we can't take back what we've already said to ChatGPT at the beginning of our relationship, at least we'll know what's in that black box, and we won't be surprised if we see it again in the future. Next up, it's that time of the school year when a lot of us are thinking about assessment, but this year, it's a little different. We're thinking about assessment in the age of ChatGPT. So many of us are scrambling to adapt. One solution is to return to oral exams. The benefits are pretty straightforward. No need to proctor in an exam room, no fear of plagiarism or essays generated by an artificial intelligence. Integrity is about 100% assured, and oral exams can be easily used to assess multiple individual or group assignments. So says Stephen Dobson, professor and Dean of Education and Arts at CQ University, Australia. So what? Well, oral exams are obviously not new. They've been around for over 2,000 years. But this week, we discovered an approach that takes assessments up a few notches on Bloom's taxonomy. Instead of having students turn in a paper, Kristen Harrington had them do an oral presentation, but with a very creative spin.
So basically what the students did was they researched the content for their topic and they worked with a group, but then they did not get to create a presentation formally. The teacher created slides with pictures and they had to relate those pictures to their content and just basically speak freely.
Well, what could go wrong?
The kids were really scared and nervous because they don't want to go first and they're afraid or they didn't get it done. But they were so excited after. And then one thing that we noted is that every single student showed up for class every day. That never happens on presentations. And so they were so excited. There was such a buzz about the activity because they didn't know what was going to happen that nobody wanted to miss that day.
Kristen's approach introduced unpredictability, fun, and requires students to actually know the material well enough to think on their feet. And the big bonus? Well, unlike those quiet, stressful written exams, our students may actually look forward to these. We end this week with a question. Will this time be different? A lot of us are still not sure what to make of ChatGPT. Will it transform education? Should we lean into it or wait for this trend to pass? We asked, and here's what we heard.
I must admit, I haven't necessarily tried it yet, but as I've been reading and hearing other people talk about it, I'm pretty excited by what it's going to be able to do for not only my students and the material for them, but what it can maybe do for me as an educator. And I'm hoping that it'll kind of help me to be more efficient.
The thing is, I've heard that before. I thought the internet was going to change instruction, and really, the instruction is still designed in the old way. And so I'm hoping maybe this time, I'm cautiously optimistic that ChatGPT and AI will force us to redesign instruction from a more inclusive, accessible lens.
I think this can become a superpower. Today I was speaking with some teachers. They are trying to meet the needs of special education and your students who are just struggling in a subject, as well as your gifted students You could have small group work that you create using some of this AI technology so that you are ensuring that your students are all getting the content, but at the level to which they need. So I think this will be wonderful.
Initially, whenever something new comes out, I'm skeptical. So that's just sort of the professor in me. Because I've been around long enough, I've kind of seen this play out in many scenarios. Sometimes, these technologies are transformative, and other times they turn out maybe not to be.
So ChatGPT has really disrupted what we're doing, because now it's not, do we choose to use it or not? It doesn't matter about our choice. Our students will be using it, and we have to rethink, what should education look like? What are we really valuing in education? This is a time that's going to go down in history as the moment that education was finally brought up to the 21st century.
That last comment was from Dr. Helen Crompton, an associate professor of instructional technology at Old Dominion University. Stanford says she's among the top 2% of scientists in the world. We say her last comment, that's a mic drop. I'm Jim Brower.
BRN, where educators share what works.